In the great kingdom of Igbogi, where the sun cast golden hills over vast plains and the rivers whispered ancient secrets, Queen Moremi was a name sung in praise. She was the jewel of the kingdom, a woman of grace, wisdom, and unmatched beauty. To the people, she was their beloved queen, the heartbeat of Igbogi. But unknown to all, Moremi carried a truth so dangerous it could shatter the very throne she sat upon. The kingdom had known peace for 2 decades under King Adetokunbo's reign, yet whispers of an impending war brewed in the shadows. The neighboring land of Gbara had suffered a great drought, and its warriors, desperate and hungry, sought to conquer Igbogi. The king, wise but aging, spent many nights in council with his chiefs, devising strategies to protect his people. However, it was Queen Moremi who harbored the darkest fear of all, for she only knew the secret that could bring Igbogi to ruin, a secret she had hidden even from her husband, the king. One moonless night, as the cold wind howled through the palace walls, Moremi stood in her chamber, staring into the dim light of a burning oil lamp. Her heart pounded as she unfolded an old piece of parchment, a letter she had hidden for years. Its ink now faded, but the words forever burned into her soul. The child lives. Moremi clutched her chest. A pain, sharp and unrelenting, gripped her heart. She thought she had buried that past, thought it would never resurface, but the truth had a way of crawling back no matter how deep one buried it. A knock on her door startled her. "My queen," came the soft voice of Tanimola, her most trusted maid. "A visitor awaits you in the secret chamber." Moremi's breast hitched. "At this hour?" "Yes, my queen," he says. He bears news from Gbara. Fear coiled in her stomach like a serpent. She had no choice but to face it. Draping a thick shawl over her shoulders, she moved silently through the hidden corridors of the palace, her mind racing. Who could it be? Did they know? As she stepped into the dimly lit chamber, the figure before her turned, and the moment their eyes met, the world around her seemed to collapse. There standing before her was a man she never thought she would see again. A man who should not exist. A man whose very presence threatened to unmask the greatest deception in Igbogi's history. Queen Moremi's breath hitched as she took a step back. The dim lanterns flickered, casting hairy shadows on the stone walls. The man before her was cloaked in black, his face partially hidden by the hood of his robe, but she knew those eyes that mirrored her own. Her fingers trembled as she gripped the edge of her shawl. This was impossible. It was supposed to be gone, forgotten, erased from existence. "Moremi," the man said, his voice low yet filled with a storm of emotions. She swallowed hard, her throat dry. How are you here?" she whispered. The man took a slow step forward, and with each movement, Moremi felt the walls of her world closing in. "You should ask yourself, Queen of Igbogi," he said bitterly. "You who swore an oath before the gods to protect me, only to cast me away." Moremi's pulse pounded in her ears. Tanimola stood frozen by the door, her eyes darting between them, confusion written all over her face. The queen forced herself to breathe. I had no choice," she stammered. "If they knew, they would have killed me," the man interrupted sharply. His voice was laced with pain. Yes, his eyes burned with something even more dangerous: vengeance. Moremi turned quickly to Tanimola. "Leave us," she ordered. The maid hesitated for a moment before bowing and slipping out of the chamber. Now alone with the man, Moremi felt the weight of years pressing down on her. She knew this moment would come, but not like this. Not with war looming on the horizon, Where have you been? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The man pulled down his hood, revealing the sharp regal features of someone born into royalty. His dark skin gleamed under the flickering lantern. His jaw clenched tightly. I have lived in the shadows, he said, among those who were cast aside by your kingdom, among those who swore to see Igbogi born. Moremi's breath caught. No, he cannot be. You are with Gbara? A slow, bitter smile stretched across his face. No, Moremi, I am Gbara. The queen's knees nearly gave out beneath her. This was far worse than she had imagined. The boy she had hidden, the son she had sworn to keep safe, had returned as the enemy of her people. The air between them was thick with unspoken words, with pain, with years of betrayal. And then the man, her son, stepped closer and whispered, "Prepare yourself, Queen of Igbogi, for war is coming." Queen Moremi felt a world shatter around her. She stared into the piercing eyes of the son she had abandoned, the child she had sworn to protect, but had instead condemned to a fate worse than death. Her lips parted, but no words came. War is coming. The words echoed in her mind like a curse. She had always feared this moment, but she never imagined the leader of her kingdom's greatest enemy would be the son she had hidden from the world. She took a shaky step forward. "My son, do not call me that," he spat, his voice filled with venom. "I am Obalola, the true heir of Igbogi, the prince you threw away to save your throne." Moremi's heart clenched. "I did it to protect you." Obalola let out a bitter laugh. "Protect me? You abandoned me, left me to be raised by those who despise your kingdom, who whispered in my ears every night that I was an outcast, that I was nothing but a discarded secret of a cowardly queen." Tears welled in Moremi's eyes. She had only been 17 when she bore him, and her conceived in a moment of weakness with a man who was not the king. If the truth had come to light, she would have been executed, and her son would have been slain before he even took his first breath. So she did what she thought was best. She sent him away, never to return. But fate had other plans. "You were never nothing," she whispered, stepping closer. "You were my greatest love. But if the world knew, the king would have killed you." Obalola clenched his fist. "And yet you chose to stay by his side, to rule as his queen while I suffered." Moremi reached out to him, but he pulled back. "Please," she begged, "do not do this. War will destroy us all." Obalola's face darkened. "The war is already upon you, Moremi. The warriors of Gbara march even as we speak. But I did not come here for bloodshed. I came for the truth, and now I have it." He turned swiftly, heading towards the exit. "Wait!" Moremi cried. "What do you intend to do?" Obalola stopped at the doorway, looking back at her with cold determination. "You will see soon enough." And then he was gone. The following days were filled with dread. Moremi lived in a state of torment, torn between loyalty to her people and love for the son she had lost. She knew that if the king discovered the truth, her life and her sons would be forfeit. Then on the third night, the war drums began to sound. The warriors of Gbara arrived at the gates of Igbogi, their spears glinting under the moonlight. The kingdom was prepared to fight, but Moremi knew deep in her soul that this was not a war to be won by weapons. It was a war of the heart. As the battle raged outside, she made a decision, a reckless, desperate decision. She rushed to the king's chamber, where Adetokunbo stood, sword in hand, watching the battle unfold from the palace balcony. "My king," she gasped, falling to her knees. There is something you must know. Adetokunbo turned, startled by the panic in her voice. What is it, my queen? Tears streamed down her face. The leader of Gbara, he is my son. A deadly silence filled the room. The king's eyes darkened with fury. What? Moremi sobbed. Before I became your wife, I bore a child. A child I hid to protect your throne. The king's grip on his sword tightened. You betrayed me. Moremi nodded. And now he has returned, seeking vengeance. But if I go to him, I may be able to stop this war. The king was silent for a long time. Then with a sigh, he turned. Go, but if you fail, I will not hesitate to strike him down. With her heart pounding, Moremi ran to the battlefield. Amid the chaos, she found him, Obalola, standing tall at the gates of Igbogi, his spear raised high, ready to give the command for the final attack. Stop! Obalola's eyes met her, a flicker of hesitation crossing his face. Moremi fell to her knees before him. Please, my son, she cried. Enough blood has been shed. The warriors of Gbara murmured in confusion. The warriors of Igbogi held their breaths. And then, in a move that shocked everyone, Obalola dropped his spear. He turned to his warriors. Stand up! The war was over. But peace came at a price. The king, though relieved, could not allow Moremi's betrayal to go unanswered. The chiefs of the land demanded punishment. Moremi did not fight it. She knew that peace had been brought with her truth, and now she had to pay the price. As the sun set on Igbogi, Queen Moremi was stripped of her title and exiled from the kingdom. She left without protest, her heart heavy, but with a small, sad smile on her lips, for though she had lost everything, she had saved her son, and that to her was worth any throne. And so, as Queen Moremi walked away from the kingdom she once ruled, she knew that though she had lost her throne, she had gained something far greater: the redemption of her son and the peace of two nations. Kindly subscribe and turn on notifications for more interesting stories. Thank you so much for watching.